Hello, Toma is my name, and today we're going to talk about innovation portfolio. Before we jump into today's sessions, I want to talk you through the agenda. First of all, I'm going to talk to you a bit about myself. Then we're going to discuss what is a portfolio and why is it important to map your company's portfolio. Then we're going to discuss about methods of mapping out your company's portfolio. So without further ado, let's start. As I said, my name is Dan Toma, and I co-authored a book on corporate innovation. It's called Corporate Startup. And I've also worked with various large enterprises around the world on kicking off their innovation efforts. Jumping straight into the session, I want to clear out some things about portfolio and what is it important. So first of all, the portfolio is a snapshot of the products that are in a company's lineup. Mapping out these products is going to help you understand where are investments happening currently in the company, which are the areas that attract most of the budget, most of the resources, and also it's going to give you an idea of how is the company vulnerable in face of competition. What are some portfolio gaps that potential competitors might exploit? Also, this is going to give you a sense of where investments should happen, and basically having all this clear snapshot is going to give your innovation effort direction. Is going to tell you where you need to be innovating, how much you need to be spending on innovation in terms not just financial resources, but also other resources, right? How much will that effort be? There's two free methods we can discuss about mapping out the portfolio. The first one I want to talk you through is called the free horizon model. This one was covered in the book called Alchemy of Growth, and it was put forward by a couple of McKinsey consultants. This horizon model basically is dividing a company portfolio on maturity. So basically, it's taking a snapshot of the products that the company has in the lineup and is dividing them based on maturity. The most mature products, the ones that most of the time are associated with a company's brand and name, are Horizon 1 products. Products that are emerging are Horizon 2, and new products represent Horizon 3. Also, you need to understand that depending on the degree of uncertainty, some products might be Horizon 1, some products might be Horizon 3, independent of their association with the company's brand. So the less assumptions, the less risky a business is. Obviously, these are businesses that have been in the market for years now, if not decades, are Horizon 1. And as the degree of uncertainty increases, we're talking about Horizon 2 and Horizon 3. Another way to look at the company portfolio is to look at the technology that they use, also using the free horizon model. So sometimes you might see, as in the case of Facebook, in Horizon 3, not products being named but technologies. As you can see, this is Mark Zuckerberg talking about Facebook's portfolio on the stage in Disrupt San Francisco, and he's using the free horizon model. As you can see in Horizon 1, there's the social media network, right? The social media network we all use every day, the Facebook that we know. In Horizon 2, we have products which are emerging, like WhatsApp, like Instagram, like Messenger, things that are there, they have traction, but they still have a high degree of uncertainty in their business model. And as you can see in Horizon 3, Facebook is not no longer talking about product, but is mainly talking about technologies such as augmented reality, virtual reality, AI, and so many more. Another way to look at another method of looking at the company's portfolio is using the innovation ambition metrics. This was put forward in an article in Harvard Business Review. This is basically dividing the portfolio against market and product. So it's looking at your company portfolio in terms of market and product. What is the market and what type of product are addressing the need of a specific market? There's three categories. There's core, there is adjacent, and there is transformational. Basically, if you would use this to plot your company's portfolio using the innovation ambition matrix, You basically are going to put in core the products that are addressing a known problem in a known market with a known value proposition. If any of these elements is becoming new to company, new to the brand, you can say that that product is mainly in adjacent. If something is completely, entirely new to the company, that product will probably be a transformational product. To give you a sense of what I mean by that, to make it more real and less theoretical, let's look at Daimler's portfolio, of course, overly simplifying it, and see how it maps out on the innovation ambition map. As you can see, brands such as Smart and brands such as Mercedes-Benz, I'm talking here about the passenger car, the buses, the trucks, everything that is under the Mercedes-Benz brand, they are part of Core. Why? Because they represent a known product, a known value proposition, and a known market for the Daimler Group. As we are moving towards adjacent, we might see a company called Car2Go, or a business called Car2Go. Car2Go is a new take on mobility. For the ones that don't know about it, I'm going to briefly explain it. It's basically car sharing service. It's electric smart cars that are parked throughout the city, and people can unlock them by swiping a card, and they are going to pay per use. So basically, there's a fixed fee per minute that users are going to pay whenever they drive the electric minis. Then after they're done with their journey, they just jump off the car, park it somewhere, and then they end basically the contract, the small term contract for driving the car, and then another driver can pick it up, and hence the car sharing service. In this service, Daimler owns the asset. Daimler owns the smart cars, the ones that are actually delivering the value proposition. But since it's no longer a buy the car a business model, this is adjacent to the core. This is part of the adjacent layer in Daimler's portfolio. If we look at the transformational layer of Daimler's portfolio, we are able to spot a company that Daimler recently invested in and created in. Is called Flink. This is also a new take on mobility, but in this one, Daimler doesn't own any assets. So basically, this is carpooling. It's a carpooling service, right? If people drive from A to B in their private car, they have an option to take other hitchhikers on that ride against an amount, and Daimler is making a fee on top of that from that transaction. So as you can see, this product is transformational because Daimler is not owning the asset. Daimler is not owning the car. Daimler is just providing the platform where the transaction for that commute happens. Another way to look at the company portfolio using the innovation ambition matrix is to look at what is the ratio, the best ratio, the golden ratio of investing in portfolio. And that is given by a 70-20-10. That means that 70% of the investment of the company need to happen in the core, need to happen in making the core business efficient, running smoothly, and making that profitable. 20% of the investments should happen on adjacent products because these are going to ensure the future success of the company, and just 10% on transformational. These are forward-looking products. These are products that have a maturity horizon of 10 years or even more. So this is basically the golden ratio. I didn't come up with this. This has been put forward by research that has been done on many companies around the world. Another way to look at the portfolio of a company is to combine the two methods. And here I want to talk to you about Google and Alphabet. But before we do that, I want to tell you why it's good to combine them. Why is it important to combine the two methods, the horizon and the innovation ambition matrix? Well, the horizon is just going to tell you, talking about the horizons first, the horizons are just going to tell you if you have new businesses or if you're just going to invest in core. But it's not going to tell you if you're actually reaching out, if you're spreading out your investment in new markets, if you're thinking about your business in an arena, if you're thinking about expanding to new geographies or coming up with new offerings. And if you don't do that, if something happens within your industry, if your entire industry gets disrupted, not just your company, but if your entire industry gets disrupted by new technologies or by new trends or whatever, then you are at risk. So you need to be able to spread your investments also outside that core business, that thing that your company's brand stands for. On the other hand, if you were just to use the innovation ambition matrix, that's going to tell you if you're investing in new business models, right? It's going to tell you if you're investing in new markets, if you're coming up with new value propositions. But that's not going to tell you if those investments are something that your company has done 5 years ago or 10 years ago, or is something that the company is currently doing, right? Because that represents the maturity. So by having something in transformational, this doesn't mean that that particular entry in the portfolio is new. It is new. It's new in terms of maturity, right? It's not going to tell you if it's a nascent business or a mature business. It's just going to tell you, well, yes, we are investing, but we are investing in stuff which is outside of our core of our brand, which is great. But it's not going to tell you if that investment happened last year or 10 years ago. So I encourage you to look at your company's portfolio by combining the two models that I described recently. In order to do that, I created an example here for Google. As you can see, the search engine is a core product, but it's also mature. It's an H1 exploitation product. And as you move diagonally in this metric, you are going to see that in this matrix on the opposite side of the Google search engine, you have products like Nest and like the Chromebook. For Google, these products are completely outside of their core business, and also they are new value propositions, right? They are completely new. They are nascent businesses. Nest was released a couple of years ago. It's still not there yet. It's not a mature product. There's still a lot of uncertainty in their business models and their business model. But what's really interesting about it is that Google is investing outside of their core. Google is investing outside of the search engine. Hence, the rebranding from Google to Alphabet, where now they create more autonomy for products which are outside the core business, which is the search engine and basically selling ads, to be able to have more autonomy, to be able to raise capital, and for Alphabet, the group, to be able to better invest and manage them. Key takeaways from this session, really briefly: you need to understand your current portfolio, and this will offer you direction for your innovation effort. This is going to tell you where you need to innovate or why you need to innovate there, and all this important information. A balanced portfolio can protect the company from being disrupted. That's another major takeaway. And last but not least, one needs to understand both maturity of the portfolio entry as well as their relationship with the market. As I said, combining the three horizons with the innovation ambition matrix. So now we can start plotting your innovation portfolio. Right. So now let's talk about how do we map your company portfolio. There are several ways. The way in which I'm going to describe it to you, it might sound simple, it might sound overly simplified. It is. In general, I encourage you to exercise more in depth than what I'm going to present, which is fun to do with your colleagues over workshop, or anyway, something that's not time intensive. For that, what you're going to need is post-it notes and Sharpies. You can also do it with digital tools such as an Excel or PowerPoint or Word document or whatever tool you want to use. But I encourage you to use post-it notes and Sharpies because they are easier and more fun to play with. Easier to change, easier to adapt if something happens, easier to edit, just take it off, rip it off, and you rewrite that. Right, so let's just jump into how to map your portfolio. First thing you need to do is you need to start writing all the products that are currently in your company's lineup on post-it notes. There should be one product per post-it note. And then just dump them all on your whiteboard, on your desk, or whatever, on a wall. Just make sure you write one product per post-it note. After you're done writing all the products or all the products you can remember from your company's lineup, I'd like you to start segregating them based on maturity level. From left to right, start clustering them on maturity levels. The cluster which is the one most to your left is going to be a Horizon 1, meaning a super mature product. The one in the middle is going to be the cluster of emerging businesses. And the one on the far right is going to be a Horizon 3 type of product cluster. And this is going to be represented by products which are new in the market that have just been released, right? So new nascent businesses. After you're done clustering your post-it notes, after you're done clustering your products based on maturity, I would like you now to start clustering them based on market value proposition and basically using the innovation ambition matrix. From top to bottom, start moving your post-it notes depending on if they are core, if they are adjacent, or transformational innovation. Meaning, if products that are in core, they should stay in the upper part of the new cluster. If the products represent an adjacent offering, so they are not same value proposition for the same market, they should be in adjacent, they should be in the middle. And the products which are a new value proposition in a new market, they should be in transformational. Basically, you're going to end up with a 3x3 matrix represented on the horizontal axis by the maturity level of your portfolio entries, and on the vertical axis by the relationship that product has with the market and with the value proposition. After you're done doing this 3x3 and moving your products accordingly around, see some gaps in your portfolio. Look at those gaps and try to analyze and see how far is your current company's portfolio from the ideal 70-20-10 we have spoken about when we discussed about, for example, the innovation ambition matrix. Right? Try to analyze how far from an ideal 70-20-10 dispersion is your current company portfolio. Starting from that, now you can get inputs with respect to where should your company start investing in. Basically, you need to have a 70-20-10 ideal dispersion. If your company is heavily invested into core, then some investments for the future need to happen in adjacent and transformation. If on the other hand, most of your products are in transformational, try to think how can you move them to core, or do you need to have more nascent products in that area, or do you need to spend some time and effort in maturing some of those products if most of your products are towards a Horizon 3. That's basically the simple way of doing portfolio mapping. I encourage you to do it multiple times. And also I encourage you to do it with more accuracy. By doing it multiple times, by adding more accuracy to your portfolio map, you're going to have a better fidelity with respect to your portfolio. You're going to have a better understanding of the current situation of your company, which is going to provide you with the necessary input direction. Thank you.